Hello and welcome to the second tier. I'm Ryan Dilks and I'm joined by Justin Peach because today we're talking about the latest with Derby County and their ongoing battle with the EFL. Now, the fixtures have come out today. Hooray! But for Derby, that's quite interesting because what has happened, ladies and gentlemen, is Derby and Wycombe have both been given fixtures for the Championship next season in case Derby still get relegated, which was seemingly a possibility that was drifting away, but the EFL has put it right back in our sphere of glances right now. I don't know where I'm going with this, Justin. Derby have also been fined £100,000, but there's still no word yet on which league they're going to be playing in next season and whether they're going to be starting the season with a points deduction. But this announcement, Justin, has definitely raised a few eyebrows, hasn't it?
Oh, a little bit. Raised a few eyebrows and a few concerns, to say the very least. Probably a bit of an understatement. Yeah, I mean, the verdict of the independent panel was the £100,000 fine, but then the EFL are appealing that because they want to go the full hog, don't they? It just makes you question why is the independent panel brought in? What is the reason for them if they're going to be completely ignored anyway? But yeah, a lot of worried people on social media at the moment, and rightly so, because what league are Derby going to be playing in? Are they going to have any players for the start of the season? Are we going to get season tickets? God knows. Honestly, no idea what is happening at the minute.
The whole thing from a Derby perspective must be very frightening. It's got to be said. I've got kind of two stances on this. First off is £100,000 for a football club, which is already scraping the barrel when it comes to money, seems ridiculous. I thought there'd be a fine anyway, but it doesn't really make any sense for me because, as I say, Derby aren't the richest of clubs at the moment. They're struggling for players as it is because they've got so little money in the bank. Oh, and this just isn't going to help things. So it seems like the long-term future of the club has been dealt a blow in that sense. And it kind of goes back to my point from before where I was saying, just relegate Derby. Just relegate Derby because it's the best thing for everyone involved. And Derby fans didn't necessarily agree with me last time. But as I say, Derby have got 14 players heading into next season, 14 definite contracted players. And it doesn't look like they're going to be able to sign many more. And that almost certainly means they're going down next season. And if you add in the points deduction as well, then they're certainly going down. So makes sense from that perspective, because otherwise it's just a place taken up in the relegation spots for next season. Derby fans will go throughout the whole season knowing that their end result is pretty much confirmed from the start. Just relegate them and give a club like Wycombe, in this case, the chance to have a go at actually staying up in the Championship next season instead of, giving them it's not fair on them either. It is what I'm trying to say. And from a Derby perspective, it makes sense for them to just get down into League One next season, start afresh, hopefully without a points deduction, because you'd have thought that relegation would be the only punishment they face on that front. Get them down into League One next season and have a go at being competitive in the division next season, because they're not going to be competitive in the Championship next season. They're going to be the whipping boys of the Championship next season. I don't know why, as a Derby fan, you'd want that.
I see where you're coming from, but I've got two issues with it, and one of them being that why should Derby be punished now based purely on the EFL's stubbornness to proceed with this? If we go back a couple of years, they signed off the policies that they are now deeming illegal. I guess they signed them off, which obviously meant Derby were carrying on implementing this accounting policy. And it's only now they signed off the accounts, etc. They signed everything off. They were happy with everything, and their new regime came in and go, actually, we're not happy with this. I don't see why Derby should be punished for that. As well as that, from a Wycombe perspective, they have planned for a League One season they themselves said they are not going to chase any legal issues with this. They accepted the relegation on the final day of the season. They are now planning for a League One season, budgeting for a League One season. The EFL at a last minute whim, putting them in the Championship after Wickham have allowed players to leave. Onya Dimma, key player for Wickham, he's gone on to Luton, for example. Ikpiatsu, another player who has been linked with Borough, even Derby, weirdly. He's been linked with a move away. They're planning for a League One season. They're budgeting for a League One season. Putting them in a Championship at the very last minute is going to do more harm than good in the long term, because it could financially ruin a football club. We've seen it with Yeovil. Could financially ruin them, or at least put them back a couple of years, and they would become the whipping boys. The way the EFL are handling this is a complete and utter disgrace, to be very, very blunt. And Derby shouldn't be punished for that. And Wickham being put in the Championship at a last minute notice is punishing them as well.
I'd agree with you that the EFL are not coming out very well on this at all. With the fine, as we were just saying, if you fine a club that haven't got that much money in the bank as it is, then that just seems to scream greed, and doesn't show any care at all for the club, which is struggling at the moment financially. And then the fact that this is taking so long to be resolved
is 18 months.
Yeah, it's farcical. It is absolutely farcical that this is still going on, and we're heading into this season where we still don't know who's going to be playing in it 100%. The EFL really need to sort this out. This has got to be one of the worst shows of incapability that we've seen from them in quite some time.
Well, it's been a repeat process, because they made a hash of the QPR punishment. They made a hash of the Birmingham City one. Sheffield Wednesday was probably the only one that was given a little bit of credit, because they went to the independent panel. The independent panel said 6-game, 6-point deduction. Yeah. That was appealed actually as well. The EFL aren't. I'm going to say the statement that everybody says: they're not fit for purpose. It's been an absolute disgrace, and I've given them a lot of sympathy, because of the position they've been put in by the pandemic, etc. But the way this has been handled, the way previous cases have been handled, they're making it up as they go along, and fans and employees of football clubs are suffering for it, and that's not fair. It's worth pointing out the £100 fine is from the independent panel that they put in place. £100,000 fine might seem fair in the grand scheme of things, but as you say, they're financially crippling an already financially crippled football club, and they will do the same to other football clubs. And it's, at what point do you start to say, is this fair on supporters, or should we be punishing the owners that put them in this position? Because they're the temporary custodians, as everybody has said throughout the European Super League saga.
Yeah, it's a big argument between two very wealthy groups of people, and it's just pathetic. The longer it goes on, the worse the EFL look in this whole thing, and I don't know why they don't just get this over and done with and just say this is what's happening. It's farcical.
Just accept the the panel's decision, which is the fine. But as you say, that they're going for the full hog, which is not doing anybody any favours at all.
Not at all. Absolutely not. Right. This has been the second tier. This has been our reaction to the ongoing battle between Derby and the EFL. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back very soon for more reactions to any of the breaking news in the Championship.